on the bench today we have an ATI APG card. But if you can see here, the capacitors have definitely seen better days. I can just zoom in. So this capacitor here has actually started to explode. This one isn't far behind. And I would guess the one next to it is probably next on the list. The other caps on the board look fine. Actual GPU underneath that heatsink, that's a bit on the grubby side. Focus, damn you. There we go. A little bit on the grubby side. And it's just held on by these two plastic clips, which are quite easy to remove. Underneath, no damage, there's no leakage of these caps. So to replace these, we need some more caps. So they're 16 volt, 1000 microfarad. So these are a little bit taller. So the reason for repairing this is I'm interested in putting it in this board. So first things first, I'm just going to get rid of the fan because I don't want to have that dangling about. And I didn't want to damage any of the plastic fins playing around the board, so we'll just fold that over there temporarily. First order of business is to remove these, and I've actually put needs recap 1000 microfarad 16 volts on the back of it. De-soldering station on. Soldering supplies. The box of soldering supplies. So we'll clean this with IPA as well once we've got these caps replaced. Actually, once we've got the caps off, we'll give it a bit of a wash down around that area, just to make sure there's no electrolytic kicking about. The first thing is I'm going to put a bit more solder into these joints. Now these should be easy to support on the other side because they're pretty much the only through-hole components apart from these two massive diodes. So again, with the desoldering, see a lot of people desoldering down, and gravity's not on your side, and you are going to clog the desoldering gun up doing that. So my general advice is to try and keep it level, or at least slightly facing down. So if you can, get the thingy desoldering stood up right. On, just give it a wiggle, agitation. Basically fell out. These two. Let's do the same thing again. Toothbrush to clean. Beep, 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 beep. Right. So I know that this fan plugs into this socket this way around, which means that this is the negative pin. Shaded side is negative. And then we're going to solder them back in.
A few inches later.
Well, just a final clean off. Well, I have now learnt something new. There are actually two types of AGP, and it's down to voltages. So this card is actually a 1.5 volt signaling APG card, and the motherboard only accepts the 3.3 volt signaling APG cards. You'll find some cards have two slots, and those will work on both signaling types. But I've managed to get a card that won't go in this board. So it's back to the drawing board on what I'm going to use in this board. But in the meantime, we should have fixed this, and I'll see if I can find a board that I can test it in. Well, let's put this aside. This is a PC that I bought on eBay. And I asked you to guess how much I paid for this, but this is a case. I bought it as just a case, and it came with a CD-ROM drive, a floppy drive that I've actually stolen to do other things with, a mainboard with RAM, processor, and it basically booted from the floppy, no problem. It hasn't got a hard drive in it, but it's got SATA on board. It's a relatively modern PC. We might be able to kill two birds with one stone, because this happens to have the right type of AGP port in it. And there we go. That has clipped in no problem. There we go. Looks like, yeah. Card does work.